delta design is like the left side will be having that tadpole, and the right side we have the delta. So the left side table, like we can start with the tadpole design will have two wheels in front and one in the rear, like an inverted triangle. And in the compared to delta, we have the triangle shape, like one in front and two in rear. So next point, like the tadpole design have a better dynamic stability because like we have the two wheels in the front, so it we can control the vehicle easily than compared to that delta design. And next time, the drivetrain is very simple in delta.
Karan,
Sorry,
sorry to restrict you, like, but
yeah,
your slide is showing fourth. Your fourth slide is showing actually.
fourth slide.
Yes.
Why it is
Now
happened? So
it's
I
okay.
don't.
Yes. Now it's okay. Now showing the
Okay,
fifth
so
slide.
like I can man. Okay. Okay, I will try. Like we can try to zoom it here itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know why it is happening. You can see, right? No? Okay, so to avoid the problem, I will do these things. Okay. Yes. Okay, so for a delta design, for a tadpole design, like placing the drive system needs a differential in the rear. Placing drive system in the rear need differential system for a this thing, and for a drive system in the rear is simple in this one, delta design. And next, the steering system on the front in easy in this thing, tadpole design, because like we have the things to get easy, like for a two-wheeler. Sorry, if it will be similar to what we see in auto. So for a delta, for a tadpole or delta design, we have similar to design of an auto. So I think I have swapped it. Sorry, yeah, I think we have swapped it. So that is what the confusion is creating. Like neat steering system that controls two wheels. The two wheels is for tadpole, and this thing is for delta. Okay, so I think they replaced. Next thing is like aerodynamics compare, like tadpole design have a better aerodynamics than the delta. Though we see like delta shape as a more aerodynamic, like being a sharp point in this front. But comparing, like it will have tadpole has a better aerodynamic characteristics than the delta. Next point is like braking efficiency is less in this one delta, because one wheel is actually only one wheel is present. As we know, like main component while braking is front. The front part will have the should have the more braking effort than the rear. So if we come for a tadpole design, the front wheel should have more number of wheels are there in the front, so naturally better the efficiency in the tadpole than the delta. Okay, so and also like in this thing, the tadpole design has have a rear mounted engine and battery. Since we naturally place the wheel will be on the only one wheel be in the rear, so naturally we will be placing more weight on the rear to get a biased design, like weight distribution will be more on the rear rather than the front. So like we will be getting a steering dynamic characteristics called as understeer, and here we have that less stable, because the vehicle will tend to have a oversteer. Like now what we see, like what is the basically that understeer and oversteer is like it is the steering criteria during the vehicle when taking a turn at either low speed or high speed. Understeer is like when the vehicle turns, like a vehicle will tend to turn less than what we expect. So naturally, like it will, if you're taking a cornering, like if you're taking a turn of a certain radius, it will, it won't be giving what we expect. Like it will be moving out of the track at sometimes. So that is due to fact, like we have the understeer in the vehicle, where the front will be more front will have the more weight there rather than the rear. So and also like in the oversteer, compare it will be opposite to that of right, where we front will have less weight, so naturally, the front rear will have more slip, and it will be tend to push the rear part way farther than the front. So naturally, it will cause like a piston. You can see from the dirt racing bike, right? You will be seeing the dirt racing, like you will have the rear wheel will almost come in parallel with the front while turning. So that is what oversteer is all about. Okay. So next thing, like I have a question for you guys. Like, can anyone tell an example for a delta shape passenger car? Like, it is already there. You might have seen, I think, in earlier. I think you can post your question answers there. Have you seen any delta shape passenger car in the market?
Akshay is saying auto rickshaw.
No, I'm asking car. Auto rickshaw is there, but I'm asking the car because what I say is like everyone would have seen once in a lifetime during this course. Any answers? Yes, in Bollywood movie, I guess. No. Yes, there's a car like, yeah, you got the point. Like you can see, right? The Mr. Bean show, like you might have seen. Yeah, just I can see. Yeah. Screen is fine, right? You can see the screen.
Fine.
Okay, like you can see from the third picture, like you have that car, like which Mr. Bean will always used to hit, and naturally it will always get and crash into something. So that is a vehicle which was used, like it is called Reliant Robin. So where it is a delta shape design. So this is an example for it is already what to say, like in the following video you will be seeing this car in real. It is a real car. So and for the delta configuration, we have one of the designs which is a recently launched Saunders Electric in 2019. It is a delta shape car, and for your surprise, this vehicle costs just around 6.5 lakhs. So it is a bit electric car, like it is affordable for all of us to get with say the 6.5 lakhs car. So that is what a delta design, and this is a tadpole. So I will show you a video where this car will take a turn, and you can see, like I will ask the question after this, and I expect answer for this. Yeah. It's the car.
It's really funny.
Yes, you can see, right? So like what is the question I'm asking is that why the vehicle what to say, like why the vehicle overturned, like crashed it? Any reason?
Guys, you can unmute yourself if you want to answer.
You can, if
also.
you can unmute and you can tell the answer.
So there is no stability.
Yes, one of the answer, like it is right, and I expect more answers from you. Yeah, change in center of gravity, that is good. Like that is, I expect that answer, perfect answer. And I think turning radius won't have much effect. Like though it has a certain effect. Voice is interrupting.
Sir, actually in four-wheeler, you will get too much support and grip when you move the vehicle.
Okay.
But in the three-wheel vehicle, when we go with the acceleration speed, when we take a turn, we may meet with the accident.
Yeah.
Because the way speed and all.
Yeah, that is fine. To be more precise, like what I will say is like you will see that there is a factor while cornering, load transfer will take place. Okay, so load transfer will, like if you take a turn, sharp turn, or like I will once again play that video. You can see, right, this point. Yes, am I audible, right?
That point is coming up.
Yeah, what is happening? Like weight is shifting towards the right. The vehicle's weight is shifting towards the right, compared to left. You can see. So that is the point where the load transfer will take place. So in this, if you compare this with the four-wheeler, what will be there naturally on the right side? We will have one more front wheel there, right? The front axle. Okay, so
means it will be same weight will be same.
Yeah, the load will be same, but there is a wheel to take that load there. Okay, that axle will have something to load. If we will have some suspension component there to take that load transfer, so that the vehicle will not roll. Actually, there is a concept of roll center. You will be. I think you will know where the roll center will be shifting laterally towards the left and right. If the vehicle, it will be like if there is no component to take the roll there, naturally what will happen? It will, like this point, like it's like you can see, right? It is more like a seesaw. It doesn't, like we will have the fulcrum at the front wheel center, and if there is a load more than, then naturally the vehicle will tilt that way. So this is the concept, like the roll center, the shifting of roll center and the center of mass. Like if it is more than, if it is rolling more than that, naturally the vehicle will roll over there. Okay, that is the reason for this failing. And also here, like one more thing, you got it like that during the cornering, during the cornering, the vehicle will always shift towards the right. Okay, so there will be a tendency for the body to roll. But this case is more common in 3-wheelers than in 4-wheelers, as we saw in all the events. The vehicle will naturally tend to lift from the left side while taking a turn left. So to avoid this, we prefer always used to get the anti-roll bar for the suspension part. Okay, so 4-wheelers we don't have much of this effect, but for the 3-wheeler definitely, even though it is a tadpole or the delta, it will have that problem of shifting of roll center mass. Okay, fine. Okay, shall I proceed to the next slide, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Yeah, and to answer to like one more, like instantaneous radius centripetal. Yeah, centripetal force will act there because that is the reason why it is pushing towards the vehicle outside. And there is no support while turning. Yes, that is 4-wheel, like wheel, there is no way to support the load. Center of gravity is fine. Aerodynamic lift, like there is a certain factor aerodynamic, but not as much as what we expect there. Speed is dependent. Yes, speed is almost utmost dependent. Greater the speed, the faster the vehicle would roll at one end. More the centripetal force will be there. Okay, fine. Yes. Next thing, like yeah, most of the time, like chassis and frame, both are like we use the term both like chassis and frame as a one term. Like normally we use chassis both the frame, but actually there is a difference between the chassis and as the frame. Okay, so the major difference is like a chassis is the assembly of minimum components required for the vehicle to move. Okay, so like you can see from the picture below, like the chassis will have the moving part and the handling part, like steering, brake, suspension, and steering, like along with the frame, except the body parts, we will have call it as a chassis. And the frame, which will like frame is the body of the vehicle which houses all the components. Okay, for through the mounting such as welding and fastening, it is a part where all the components will get mounted onto the vehicle. So that is what we called as frame. So like next time you make sure like while using the word chassis and frame, like you must know the difference. Okay, while using that. Next thing, okay. Next slide shows like you have the general requirements of a vehicle chassis, like what is the requirement that you should keep in your mind. Yeah, it should be of very lightweight. Lighter the weight, the better the efficiency in terms of mileage or fuel consumption. And also, like if we make the chassis or frame very light, means naturally in the vehicle dynamic point of view, we will have the center of gravity as low as possible towards the ground, which will be very efficient for a vehicle to stable in all the conditions. Okay, so next point is like we should have a minimum number of components. Yes, and unnecessarily we should not load the vehicles, like and it should provide sufficient space for the passengers and luggage. It should withstand vibrations, yes, while in motion, and it should offer minimum resistance to air. That is what the aerodynamic profiling thinks of. And it should be cheap and easy to manufacturing. Yes, it should be cheap, like it should not have the manufacturing cost higher, and it should be attractive in shape and color. Yes, the design plays a very important role while styling. It is very important, like we should have an attractive shape and color to get pleasing look of it. And it should have evenly distributed load path. Yes, during the impact of collision, like the frame, the vehicle frame which we are designing, it should take the load evenly so that the vehicle will not fail. And it should have a longer fatigue life. Yes, vehicle will be subjected to more loads, while during the course of time. At it will have, if the fatigue exceeds the the vehicle will fail at some point. So that you should maintain that long fatigue life. And also it should provide a good vision and ventilation. Yes, if you have the driver seated in the compartment, like you should have a good vision and ventilation for you to get some air through the vehicle. Okay. Yes, yeah. And next thing, like we have I have some more questions for you. Like you can see from the first question, like why in the collision, like if the vehicle is undergoing collision in a small car which crushes, but for a truck or a bigger car it is not crushes fully. Like, do I get any answer for that?
Sir, if you say truck is bigger than the vehicle,
Okay.
and it has more durable than the car. So easily car gets crushed when the speed.
Yeah, like you
The
could,
car-
but what you're saying is like, if you compare car with a truck, speed is towards a factor, but you should think of the factor called momentum. Okay, momentum is nothing but a product of mass and velocity, right? So
Yes, sir.
yeah, if you think the car will though it have more speed than truck, but the momentum is less than what you think of a truck. In such case, like the impact will be more when the momentum is normal is high. So in such case, your statement, I think you have to. I think it is not right. You can think of some other answers. I'm waiting for some other answer. It is more related to frame, I think, rather than yeah, weight, size, stronger frame. Okay, like it is more related to the type of frame which I am expecting. That is what the answer for that question. Force distribution. Trucks have more stronger frame. Yes, trucks have more stronger frame. Like you are very near to the answer. Akshay Saini, right? So, but I need a precise answer. Yeah, very precise. Like you can see weight and size, surface area. Like can I expect answers or I can reveal the answer to you? Okay, I will reveal the answer is nothing like the type of frame which you are using in the vehicle. For a car, like we have the car, right? For a passenger production car, like we have the type of frame. Have the you can see from the monocoque chassis you used to say, like you have the monocoque chassis. Like it is made up fully of aluminum or steel plates to use to get the complete package, right? While on the other hand, we have the heavy trucks and other things. The frame will be having rigid steel members, but the body will be made of different materials. Okay, like earlier trucks, we have the wood, and now we will be having the sheets and the steel, like the other parts. So that is what the major difference between the impact we having in the car and rather than the, like you can see very clearly, like if a car is going any crash, it will be completely crushed, okay, rather than the truck. So it will have a less, it is there is a zone we will be calling in the car, like we have the three zone. The internal part we have where the driver is placed is called as a safety cell. Okay, so where it will, the frame will, design of the frame will be such that like it will not have any impact to the driver during the course of impact. The front and the rear we will be having a zone called as a crumple zone, where the design will be such that that crumple zone is designed to have it should absorb the maximum force to so that the load or the force which will not be transmitted to the safety cell. So that is the reason your vehicle front part will get completely crushed and it prevents the load being shifted towards the safety cell. Okay, so that is the answer for that question. And yeah, coming to the type of frames, we have the many types, like a ladder frame which we use in conventional cars, like an untubular space frame, like we will be using in our race events and your student events cars. And yeah, this is for the mass production, the monocoque chassis made up of a single material. We have the two types, metal, made up of metal, and made up of carbon fiber. And these are some of the solar cars which are made purely on monocoque. Okay, full carbon frame monocoque. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Another more important question. Another more important difference. Like most of you mislead the word pipe versus tube. Okay. So a pipe, we mostly used to call a pipe as a tube, but there is a major difference between the pipe and a tube. Okay, pipes are used for transporting fluids actually, because being a piping engineer, like I know the difference. So pipes are mainly used for transporting fluids. Okay, but tubes are used for structural applications, structural strengthening or for making cages or things. Okay, and pipes are specified by its inner diameter, while tubes are specified by the outer diameter and wall thickness. Okay, here the purpose of pipe is to transport fluid. So inside the inner diameter should be more. So the volumetric capacity is important. But here the structural strength, like the thickness of the pipe plays a major role in, thickness of tube plays a major role in determining the structural strength of the material tube. Okay, so that is the difference. Okay, hope so. Like I think like you'll be knowing the difference between pipe and tube by now. Okay, so coming to next slide. Yeah, you must know some of the basic material properties before selecting any material for this. And the first thing is the hardness. Hardness is like a material's ability to withstand friction, that is abrasion or like if you scratch a material, like you should not, it should indentation we used to call, right? So that should be resist to do that. It should be material should be resistant to the resist to that. And next is the hardenability. Hardenability is the depth to which the material is hardened after putting through a heat treatment process. Like you will see all in the locks which we are using in the house. Like it will be mentioned like case hardening, surface hardening, like that. That the types of hardening will be there: carburizing, nitriding. So I think, but yeah, what I'm mentioning is like if you select a material, there is an important factor which plays here is a weldability, because greater the harden, greater the what to say, like greater the hardenability, lesser the weldability, because it is inversely proportional. Because if greater the hardenability, the greater the depth, so greater the difficulty to weld the material. So you must prefer the material having optimum hardenability to get to do the welding easy. And next is the strength. The amount of force necessary for a material to deform. Okay, it is the amount of force that is be withstand before failure. That is what the strength. Okay, so yeah, if the higher the force, higher the force required to change the shape, the stronger the material is. And you see the steel is difficult to pull viewing a tensile strength. So that is why this have a high tensile strength. Okay, and next is the toughness. Yeah, toughness is defined as how well the material can resist fracture when the force is applied. Okay, so it is a resistant to fracture, resistant of the material to undergo fracturing when the force is applied. It requires strength as well as ductility. Okay, so that is the thing. And yeah, next slide we have the stiffness definition. Stiffness is the extent to which it resists deformation. Like it is simply like the amount of force it is required to make a unit deformation. That is what a proper definition of stiffness. Yeah, we have the type of stiffness there: axial stiffness, rotational, that is a shear, and the torsional. Okay. So these things, like why I'm explaining is that when you go for analysis part, like you must know all these concepts so that you can build a better design. Okay, so yeah, here like Young's modulus is a measure of stiffness, while strength is a measure of that yield strength. Okay, more the stiffness and higher the Young's modulus of elasticity, the values. Yeah, next thing, like next the materials we are using for frame, like we mostly use that common 3 types of tubes for making space frame. We have the steel, aluminum, and the carbon fiber. I will just listed out the parameters and the comparison between all the 3. Coming to strength, naturally, carbon fiber is highest among all the 3. And weight, weight is the carbon weight. Steel is more, than the carbon fiber is the lightest. Aluminum is in between the 2. And compared to stiffness, load per unit deflection, carbon fiber has the highest strength, load per deflection, and steel and less aluminum is aluminum is a less stiff material. As we see, it can be easily deformed. And next is the cost. Cost, obviously carbon fiber is the highest among all the 3 due to its extensive manufacturing process. And aluminum, though, like we may have the comparison between whether aluminum is cheaper or the steel. Yes, but for a certain applications, aluminum is cheaper than steel. But when you compare the tube, like the manufacturing process for aluminum is more costlier than the steel. So hence it comes as hence it is more than that of steel. Okay. And next comes the durability and the reliability. Yes, obviously steel is the more durable and reliable material than all the 3. Manufacturability in case of machining and welding, steel is the utmost thing, like we can easily manufacture and machine with a lower cost compared to other 3. Okay. Yes. Coming to next slide. Yes, we have that we know that steel will have steel is an alloy of materials, so it will have some alloying elements into that. So we have some of the alloying elements in the steel, like which we will go through quickly. So first is the chromium. Like we know, like chromium is the most powerful alloying element because it helps in it increases hardenability and corrosion resistance. Greater the chromium content, like more the corrosion resistance of the steel. But its presence in some steel up to a certain level can cause excess hardness and cracking. So we must select in a way like it should be of optimum ratio. Okay. Next is the carbon. Carbon, obviously, like steel is an alloy of carbon. Like every material in the world has a carbon content in it, so naturally steel would also be. So steel, carbon is carbon up to 2%. We, as like students, you know about the iron carbide diagram. I hope so. You must know the carbon range. Okay. So how the carbon, like below 0.3, maybe in 4% we have that steel, and after that we will have that cast iron, right? So that ratio we must having, like up to 2% we have that mild steel, and greater than 2 we have that more than you can see from the iron carbide diagram. I hope so. Okay. So increasing amount of carbon increases the hardness and tensile strength. and hardenability, like and also more amount, like if we increase the amount of carbon, it reduces weldability, because lesser the carbon content, easier the weldability. Okay, so I will explain in the further slides what materials that we will be using for generally for frame design, so that I will give a brief comparison of this. Yeah, next is the manganese. Yeah, manganese also increase the hardenability and tensile strength, but to a lesser extent than carbon. Yeah, it increases the rate of carbon penetration during the welding process. Like it will, if you will be heating the material where in the heat affected zone, like you will be the more the manganese content, like it will penetrate more carbon to that, so by incorporating the strength there. Okay, and also manganese helps in machining, so it will be easy for us if for a steel having more manganese content, it can be easily machined. Okay, so that, okay, this thing. And yeah, manganese content more than 0.8% will have a cracking. Yes, next thing is silicon. Silicon is also there and present in steel, but it it is used as principal deoxidizer. Okay, making us improve sound that is free from defects while heat treating. So it is a process. It is an alloy element used for defect-free steel during the. Okay, and vanadium. Yeah, vanadium is used to refine grain structure. Yeah, it decreases the rate of grain growth, so that we can so that increases the strength and toughness. Okay, and 0.05% steels having this will increase the hardenability, while large amount will tend to reduce the hardenability. Okay, and nickel. Yeah, nickel is also added to steel, increase hardenability, increases the toughness and ductility. Okay, even with increased strength and hardness, it frequently used to improve toughness at low temperature. That is what the purpose of alloying elements. Like majorly we will be having the chromium, carbon content, and somewhat manganese. Okay, and almost we have the two more materials, I think, phosphorus and sulfur. Yeah, phosphorus and sulfur is also added to the steel. Okay, it is effect in toughness. Okay, its content in steel is limited to 0.05%. If we increase more than that, like it will have the tendency to have a crack. Here's the phosphorus and sulfur also. Sulfur we already seen in the manganese property, right? It will helps in machining and this thing. Okay. So that is the thing. Like next comes the important point, like selection of materials for space frame. We have the convention like ASI, American Iron and Steel Institute, and Society of Automotive Engineers. They both combined and designated the carbon steel types. Okay, naming of carbon steel types. So we have that. We will see. You may almost know like most of the materials like 1018, 4130, 4140, 4340. So these are the types of frames that we use for manufacturing for the materials. So as we see, like what is that DESI nomenclature? It specifies like the first two content, like first two indicates the type of material that is selected. For example, like if you see 1018. So if you go to the table like 10, it is like plain carbon steel with no additional content except manganese. Okay, and for 41 we can see from the 41XX, like it is a chromium molybdenum steel. It will have some amount of chromium content in it. Okay, and 4140 and 4340. So 43 content will have the nickel content in it. So every number in that designation will have a specific purpose for that. And the last two numbers designate the amount of carbon content present in the steel. So 18 means like it will have a 0.18%, okay, of carbon content. And 4130 means it will have a 0.3%, 0.4% for 4140, and also the same for 0.4% for this thing. Okay, 4340. So this is the nomenclature for steel, and we have the little bit comparison for all the three to get to select which is the right material for you to build the frame. ASI 1018, as we see here, like it is a mild steel. Carbon content will have a maximum up to 0.2%. As I said earlier, like lesser the carbon content, easy the weldability. So the weldability is much easier than the other three. And also like lesser strength, because it has a less yield strength and low carbon content and lack of molybdenum and chromium. Okay, we see that increase the hardenability, like chromium increases the hardenability. So that is the things for 1018. And next comes the 4130. Yeah, it is the most widely used material and highly available in the market as in a tubular form. Okay, so most teams would prefer for 4130 rather than the other three, because it has the highest strength to weight ratio. For a lighter weight, we will have more strength. So that is the explanation here. So strength can be achieved with a thinner cross section. Yeah, we have the very thin cross section, so we can have the highest strength achieved. So naturally we can reduce the weight of the frame. But the cost is higher, like 1018, but not like as you think, like it is just around I think not a very like around, if you for example a 1 meter 1 kg of 1018 costs 320, means like a 4130 it costs just 350, so 30 rupees is not a big difference. But if we compare the properties of this with 1018, okay, yeah. But one thing is like weldability. Only TIG and MIG welding can be performed with 4130 because yeah, carbon content is more, so naturally weldability will be less, and arc welding it is not. I think it is not possible. Like it is possible, but yeah, it is difficult, and a very experienced welder can do with it. Okay, but we have to compromise on strength there, so that is a problem. But he has the highest yield strength around I think 560, right? 460 megapascal. Okay, coming to 4140, yeah, very similar properties except the carbon content. Here we have the 0.3%, where you have the 0.4%. Higher tensile, ultimate tensile strength to that of 4130 for 655 versus 560 megapascal, but lower the yield strength, because for our frame design we must concentrate more on the yield strength rather than ultimate tensile strength. Okay. Higher manganese content, so less, it is more prone to internal cracking than 4130. Yes, next the 4340, it is also being used as a material for frame. So, we have the nickel content here and the same carbon content as that of 4140. Yeah, as we say, like it is very difficult than the other three, and also it is more costlier than 4130 and 4340. Okay. So these are the some of the points like for the different materials that we use for making the space frame. Okay, I hope so like you can go through that, so you can select an optimum material for your design. Okay. Okay, like yeah, you can see like during this page, you have any questions on that, because I have not seen that. Metal used in car, okay, that's an important part. Yeah, yes, I agree. Okay. You want to select the material and also for you, fine. Okay, so are you feeling any sleepy, right? You can tell, like I can sing, right? I'm a little bit boring, or it is going well? I expect.
I think it is going somewhat overhead for some of the people.
Yeah.
Because ASI 413, ASI 413, it is
Yeah, yeah.
most important part.
Hmm.
But as per my experience, I also part of the designing. So generally people tend to
Yes,
feel
it is a
little bit-
vast topic, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
design is the most crucial part. So that is what it is giving the ultimate priority of all the things.
Yeah.
So that
So you also include this CAD model, I think, so people can.
Yes, you
see.
can see my screen, right? I am having the SolidWorks model
Okay.
right next to that.
Okay.
So I will be showing that thing.
Go ahead. People,
Yeah.
you should listen this very important part. So just go ahead.
Yeah,
Fine.
sure. Okay, fine. Yes, yeah, you can just we go for the functions of frame, like what is the purpose of the frame that we use. Okay, so yeah, we have the function like you to support the vehicle's mechanical components. Yeah, you should support the vehicle's components that is being mounted, and to deal with the static and dynamic loads that will be occurring. What are the type of loads that we have? Yeah, the first load will be the weight of the body, the passenger weights, and the cargo loads that we are having being attached to the vehicle. Okay. And next is the vertical and the torsional twisting transmitted by going over uneven surfaces. The vertical twisting, like we will be having during the brake and acceleration, right? The vehicle will dive and squat during the front and rear. Like a dive means it will move front as we diving in the swimming pool, and we will squat, right? We will be moving back. So that will during brake and acceleration, the frame will be subjected to that kind of twisting. And torsional twisting we have during the vehicle goes over a bump or a pothole. So we will be facing the torsional twisting. And the transverse lateral forces caused by road conditions, side wind, and steering. Yes, during cornering, as we see in the earlier video, like the vehicle will be shifting towards the side, right? Centripetal force. So that will have some effect, like steering during steering and cornering. And the road conditions, like road conditions, if you're taking a turn and moving, and side wind. Yeah, if you have any wind, crosswind over that, it will have some effect on the lateral force. And torque from the drive system and transmission. Yes, as I discussed earlier, longitudinal tensile force from starting and acceleration as well as compression from braking. Yes, I do aware. And sudden impact from collision during the impacts. Okay, these are the functions of frames. And next is the important thing. I hope so. Like everyone will be taking. I expect everyone should be very keen in taking this part, because it determines the frame design, how the material, what kind of material, and what kind of thickness that you are going to use while designing the frame. Okay. yeah, we think of the two parameters, bending strength and bending stiffness. Okay, for the definition of the bending strength is like model, it is also known as flexural strength or modulus of rupture. It is a property of a material, like it is defined as a stress in the material just before it yields. Okay, it is the amount of strength, like it's the amount of stress that is being taken by the material before it yields, like it deforms into plastic. Okay, in a flexural test, like flexure is a bending test, like we see like a simply supported beam, like we will be having two supports and the center, like we will be having placing a load there. So that is the test called as flexure test. Okay, we have the 3-point flexure test and 4-point flexure test. Yeah, this is the formula, like bending strength in unit in Newton meter, SY into I by C, where SY is the yield strength of the particular material. Like we 4130, we will have 460 megapascal, right? So we must take that of yield strength, and I is the moment of inertia of the cross section of the material. So yeah, I expect a formula. I can I get an answer for what is the moment of inertia for this thing? So for a tube, you can, like if you cannot type, like you can switch on your mic and give the answer. Hello.
Anyone, mechatronics.
Anyone, like if anyone.
I think Sahan is.
No, right?
It is Tom, Som. It's all.
Yeah, like we need to be very clear, like because it is a fundamentals, like we have to design, we have to do while designing, right? These things. Yes. Okay, leave it, right? Yeah, I want to interest him. Like yeah, it is a formula, like we know, like pi by 64 d outer to the power 4 minus d inner to the power 4, right? So that is a formula for moment of inertia of a tubular cross section. Okay, that hollow cylinder to be precise. The hollow cylinder, and C is the radius of curvature. It is like center, like radius of the section. Okay, that is the radius of section. For 1 inch, like for 1 inch dia, like we will be having the half inch for this thing. The half inch is the radius of that tube. So that is the radius of curvature. So this we will be getting the bending strength and the bending stiffness. Okay, bending stiffness or flexural rigidity. It is a resistance of the element to bending. Okay, so that too we need to get the formula. Okay, Newton per meter square. It is for like it is the product of moment of inertia and the Young's modulus of the material. So yeah, why I'm meaning is like with the next slide you will be seeing this. Okay, yeah, you can see here like how to design a lightweight frame. We consider a section, okay, 1 inch dia and 3 mm thickness tube, and another thing, like we have, I think this is 1.5. Okay, 31.5 mm and 1.65 mm cross thickness. So you can see the difference in lesser with greater thickness here and lesser thickness there, and with the diameter more than this is more and this is less. Okay, so if we compare the bending strength and bending stiffness, okay, this we have the value, like even though we reduce the thickness, naturally the bending strength and stiffness is more. Okay, and also weight we will be reducing. Here we will see, like for a length of 1 meter, this tube will cost around 1.6 kg, while this will cost just 1.2 kg. So even a very minor weight reduction could cause a significant improvement in your vehicle performance. Okay, we can see, right, almost 26% weight reduction we can achieve using this. So this is one of the key points while designing a frame. Like we cannot simply put a certain thickness and you can model the vehicle. So each and every change you need a proper justification. Okay, that is what a vehicle, that frame design I expect. Okay,
I think Bharat has also asked one question. If I choose 1018, what are the things I should take care of, sir? So this will also give you some answer, Bharat. So it is according to the rule book you have chosen, like what Karan has said. What you have to do is force equal to mass into acceleration. So you can reduce the weight by just only reducing the weight by controlling the things, like you can do the customization part. So you can reduce the weight by optimizing the pipe. So bending strength and bending stiffness has to come into the play. And 1018 already Karan has answer, I think. Karan, go ahead.
Yeah, can go ahead. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Coming to next slide. Yeah, factors affecting the frame design, because it will have some the effect of certain things, like we'll have the frame design. Okay. Yeah. First is the distribution, weight distribution. Like we have the transmission, drive system, power source, and control. Right. For transmission, drive system, the weight distribution is important. Like whether we will be loading more on rear or by front. That is the, like based on that your frame. Number of members and the weight or the thickness will vary. If you place more weight on the rear, naturally we will be having more members in the rear, and more strength will be needed at the rear. So that is what that is the thing for weight distribution. And next is the height of the CG. Yes, height of the CG, as I told earlier, it should be we should try to keep as low as possible. Okay, for vehicle stability and handling and ground clearance. Ground clearance. For the height of CG, what I can suggest, right? If you want to lower the CG, we can either go for increase in wheelbase or by increasing track width. Okay, if you increase the track width, naturally the CG will get lower, but you have to keep in think of that vehicle dimensional restrictions for rule book. Okay, you must not compromise, and if you increase the wheelbase, naturally the turning radius will also increase. So you must have a wide thinking of that and other factors also including, and you have to design your frame. Fine. Yeah, next is the bending and torsional stiffness. Yes, for suspension and brakes, it will be subjected to torsional and bending. Yeah, and for a solar vehicle, for a specific to solar vehicle, we will be also having the panel to be mounted. So we must provide a maximum area as possible with the entire length of the vehicle for trapping the maximum solar power. So that is also one of the key factor for designing the frame, especially for a solar vehicle. Okay. And next is the driver compartment. Yes, you should have a sufficient driver compartment for the comfort and the safe driver positions. Okay, and the dimensional limits, as I said, like it is based on the rule book or any standards that you are preferring to while designing. Okay, next slide we have that this is the comparison, brief comparison. This is the thing like I would like to stress upon on the questions like whoever had any prior experience on designing. Like I expect like from where we will be starting your frame design. I need some answer from your side, participants. Yes, wheelbase and track width, right? Yes, fine. Yes, it is also that, but and the economics, okay, that is also a good thing. Yes. Next. You can also turn on your mic and speak if you cannot type. Any answers we can expect? What type of vehicle we want? Yes, sure. Suspension point. Yeah, I expect this answer from it. This is the right answer. Because any design, like most of the things, what I see from the design is like because you have to consider the performance. Okay, like how the steering and the suspension would prefer from the vehicle. Okay, how it will be respond. Yeah, I think like mechatronics engineer also like give the right answer by fixing the wheelbase and track width, as it will have a significant effect on the vehicle steering, right? So yeah, we must fix the suspension and the steering geometry first to get the optimum, that because that is one of the key requirements of the design. We will be fixing like my vehicle will should have the minimum of this kind of turning radius or turning radius, and this should be my cornering, and this should be my suspension, and this should be my roll center height. So you must fix first that the kinematics and geometry. Then you must take that hard points. You will have some softwares regarding that. I will be discussing in later. So like that, you must take that hard point from there, and based on that, you will be placing in your modeling software. Like you will be fixing the hard points, and then you will be designing for the ergonomic, like occupant packaging. Because everything will start from the purpose of vehicle is for the passengers, not for the racing. It depends, because the driver should be comfort while driving. So the occupant packaging, as he said, the ergonomics is important next. Based on that, we will be building our frame. Okay, we building our frame by fixing the dimensions, length of the panel, if for a solar vehicle if required, and placing the other components like that. Okay, so that is the way we will be designing a frame. Not like we will be right away starting from designing, and then we will be constraining all the other the wheel, suspension, steering, another thing to compact it. Okay, that will not yield the right result what we expect. Fine. Okay, right. So this we can see from the slide, right? Yeah, we can see from the slide like it is defining the suspension geometry, occupant packaging, panel power, material cost and weight is also plays a significant role. Okay, and the dimensional restrictions and the passenger safety. Okay, this is the mind map, I think, like how to design a frame, thinking the points. Yes, next comes to the constituents, like what the frame will have. There are three compartments: front, middle, that the driver cockpit, and the rear. We have the three kind of members: primary, secondary, and smart members. Primary members, yeah, it is the major member, like we just used to support the major part of the components that we loaded on the chassis frame. And yeah, it must also withstand the impact and the gravity load that is being exerted on the vehicle. And next is the secondary members. Secondary members are usually load for mounting other components and for taking the load from the primary members, okay, to reduce the stress on the stress critical areas. Next is the smart members. Yeah, smart members, like if you are optimizing in a better way, like you can have the strength and stiffness by changing the cross section or by changing the material type. So that kind of things will have in the smart members. And one suggestion is like, yeah, try to fix all the components on the primary members. Always try to fix on the primary members, and also particularly or on the nodes. Like for example, most of the teams which I saw, like their suspension mounting points, the differential mounting points, they do not mount on the node, because node is the area like where we will be having the maximum strength. And also like yeah, it is having the we will be having the maximum strength there, okay. And also like even though it is stress critical, but it is having the area where the maximum strength. So I prefer all the people, like while designing, you always fix the points on the node, okay, rather than any other in between the two. Yeah, we can have the frame nomenclature, what a space frame or what are components of the space frame would look like. And we have the front bulkhead, okay, and then we have the bracings and supports of the front bulkhead, okay, writing from the front. And next is the front roll hoop, and in between we will have the driver cockpit, where in the sides we will be having the side impact structures. And next is the main roll hoop, okay, and here we will be having the harness mounting point for mounting the seat belts harness. And next is the rear this one, rear bulkhead, where we will be placing the components and other things, and we will be having the bracings for roll hoops and other things, okay. So this is the basic frame nomenclature of this I think, yeah, this is a space frame, okay. Yeah, I will have a brief definitions on all the things. What is front bulkhead means, like it is a structure that defines a forward plane of the major structure of the frame, okay. This part is called as a front bulkhead. What its purpose is means, like it protects the driver's feet in case of any impact, okay. Driver's seat will be somewhat here, right, legs, we will be having the accelerator pedal, so its function is to protect the driver's leg in case of any impact. And next is a roll hoop. Yeah, front roll hoop is a roll bar located away above the driver's leg in proximity to the steering wheel, that will prevent any impact to the driver's hand and leg while seated in the vehicle rollover. That is what, like the driver's suspension steering wheel will be there. In case of any rollover, like if your vehicle rolls, like it should not hurt the driver's hands, okay. So that in that way, like it should be prevent the driver's hands. So that is the purpose of a front roll hoop. The main roll up also, like it should prevent the driver's head from getting impacted here on the ground while in terms of a rollover, okay. This is what the main roll up purpose. And under seat members we will be having, where it must be positioned such a way like to prevent the driver from passing through the bottom plane, okay. This under seat member we should be having there. It is like a straight member behind right on the bottom of the cockpit. So as like if a seat fails, means like a driver should not come out of the vehicle in the bottom plane. So you must have some member to protect the driver from going down, like moving down of the vehicle during say member failure, okay. This is some of the terms like we have discussed in frame nomenclature. Coming to next, yes, ergonomics, like it is also one of the important thing while thinking of the design, because it mainly deals with the driver passenger who is being seated there. We coming to ergonomics, we will have the seating position points or the field of view. Like say SP1 means seating position 1 and seating position 2. SP1 means like if the driver's vision through the left and right, okay. The left and right, what is the view angle, like we can see while rotating his head from left and right. And SP2 is the forward visibility, like how far he can we can see the front from the seating point of his vehicle, okay. That is what a seating point 2. And next is the steering wheel distance, size and angle. We must think of like the wheel and how far the clearance between the thigh and the steering wheel, and how much is the distance, another thing we must consider. And next is the elbow angle. The elbow should not be flexed too much so as to create a strain during the course of long run, okay. And next is the pedal angle. That is what we called as the accelerator or the heel point, where we must be placing the heel point there. And next is the distance, like how far we will be the foot pedal travel, you can see, right, how far you will be actuating the pedal. And leverage ratio, for the brake pedal, we will be having the leverage ratio, right. So providing less effort, more braking. So that should be our objective. And next is the H point. Like the H point is where the body spine end will be in contact with the seat. That H point we need to design. And the seat design is also very important to give a good backrest and headrest, okay. And accessibility to other components without stretching out much. like a gear lever, dashboard components, switches, and other things. And yeah, also the cockpit environment is also important. Like we have the airflow should be there, and the temperature of this the compartment, and the noise vibration harness, such that it must not be transmitted into the driver cabin. Okay, any passenger vehicle you see, like you will NVH plays a crucial role, because you will not be feeling any bumps or things or any vibrations inside the cockpit. Okay, in a passenger car, so that should be our objective. This was ergonomics. Yeah, you can see like it is some of the software we are using. This is CATIA. We will be using for human human builder model. In CATIA, we will be having this option of ergonomics. Like we will be having a digital human modeling. This we call this technique, and we will be having a mannequin. This model is called as a mannequin, and we will be placing the mannequin by moving his hip moves, arms, and other thing to be seated in a position what we expect, like what should be like. You can see from the red in the below white this photo, right? The elbow angle in the should be around 120 to 160, and the thigh angle 120 to 150, and the hip angle 90. So these are the things, some of the ergonomic criteria that you need to satisfy. Okay, and this is the test we called as RULA, rapid upper limb assessment, where we will be testing the vehicle drivers, the occupant's posture based on the scenario. Like what are the areas that he will be facing more stretches or more strains. You can see, right, upper arm, forearm, wrist, wrist twist, and other parts. Like what is it, color indicates the severity. Okay, like 3 means forearm is more strained, and this thing leg is more strained. So you, based on that, you will be optimizing the frame and locating the driver position such that he will be feel comfortable. Okay, this is the ergonomic part I would like to cover. Yeah, before coming to the loads analysis, like I will have a basic definition between the force and pressure. Why I am including this is like the type of load which we used to give in analysis. Okay, when to give force and when to give pressure to the frame during the impact. Okay, so both are external loads, like you can see, both are external loads. We get this using force. Like I think I cannot be. I will skip this one. But what I mean to say is like by default, like force are distributed along the selected geometry, while pressure values are constant over the selected geometry. What I mean is like if you, for an analysis model, if you will be giving some input to the member, like what load you will be giving, where to give force. Like if you are having nodes, you can give force at the nodes. Okay, and if you are giving what to say, like if you are giving a member, if you are giving a load to a member, you should give pressure, not force. Okay, that is what I want to convey this. Okay, because here pressure is like force per unit area, like pressure is distributed along the member, not at a particular point. Okay, so if you are giving force, you should give only at nodes, and if you are giving pressure, you should give only at the members and not at nodes. Okay, that is what I want to convey. Next is the stress. Yes, stress is a quantity that expresses the internal force that neighboring particles of a continuous material exerts on each other. Okay, this force stress is nothing but force per area. That is what you see. The type of stresses we experience in a tube, like compression during impact, tension, shearing, bending, torsion, and fatigue. Like during repeated cycles, we will be subjected to torsion, lateral force, axial, tensile, and compression, shear. Okay, all type of force we will be. These are the types of force stresses that we'll be experiencing in the frame. Okay, yeah, in stress versus strength, this is the basic small difference. What is stress and what is strength? It is stress is induced due to the load applied. Okay, and strength is nothing but the property of the material. Okay, if stress is less than strength, the material will be fail, and if stress is greater than strength, the material will fail. Okay, this is a simple difference between the stress and strength. Okay, and yeah, continuing to the frame loads, I will brief it a bit. What is the longitudinal and torsional loads? This is the loads that occurs due to road bumps. Like if you front we have any bump over there, on rear we will be having any bump over there, so the frame will be subjected to like a torsion. Okay, one end will be lifted and one end will be fixed diagonally. So this kind of load is called as the longitudinal torsional load. And vehicle bending and sagging, this is due to the weight of the components over the curb area. Okay, curb weight. So above the curb weight, like we will be having, sorry, not a curb weight, this is the sprung weight. Okay, the sprung weight. So this weight of the vehicle components mounted onto the frame and the driver succumb to vertical bending. Sagging, it is nothing but sagging due to the load. And lateral bending, yeah, while turning or cornering, we will be experiencing the shift in the CG towards the side. Okay, where the load is more. In such case, like we will be experiencing some force in the member. That is called as the lateral bending. And lozenging, as I said earlier, right, the diagonally opposite wheels, like front right and rear left when it is subjected to some kind of a force over there, we naturally will be distorting to a shape of a parallelogram. This type of force is called as a lozenging. Okay, these are the type of framed loads that it will be subjected in the vehicle. Okay, these are the various stages, like stages of a design process what we will be considering. First thing is like identifying the customer need through feedback or a market survey. Okay, that is the first thing, like what is the requirements. Next is the preliminary sketching, like you may say you must bring your concept into reality, right? What kind of a design like you will be bringing out in your vehicle, and you must compare with optimization, like rule book requirements, dimensional restrictions, other things you must follow, and and build the frame. Yeah, before making any final decision, you can make dummy models, prototype models using PVC pipes, and you can get tested how the frame would look like. And next you should go for then only you should go for modeling of frame using 3D CAD softwares. And next is the frame analysis, like you should go with the analysis with the simulation loads and what are the kinds of modification that you must be needing. And next is next you simultaneously you will be doing individual parts for other common like brake, steering, suspension modeling and analysis for that too. Next is after the analysis and the modeling of all the components, then only you should go for CAD assembly. Okay, like entire parts will be combined together to form how the vehicle complete assembly would look like. Next is economic checking. You can do softwares, as I told, DHM. You will be checking and aesthetics and weight optimization, where we can reduce and where we can move. That kind of work will be going on. Next, after that, after solving all this criteria or this, we will be finally going for a manufacturing model. We must make ready for my model to get ready for manufacturing. And next, we will be facing the production planning. As I said, it is a concurrent process, like both the design and production should go on simultaneously to achieve the lead time, like the lead time, like the deadline to be get quickly. Okay, deadline should be, you match the deadline. So production planning should also be go on simultaneously. And next is the drafting and documentation. As a design team, you should do the drafting, like for the frame models, like what are the length, and because if you're going for manufacturing, they require how much the length should be and what kind of bend we need there and what kind of notching that you need, like so that kind of documentation and drafting model will give the measurements you should deliver to them. Okay, these kind of these are the requirements that need from a designer. Yeah, next thing, like it is the most important point I think while modeling the frame. Okay, like what are the objectives or what are the requirements that you should think before going for a design. Okay, these side of points, like what I added based on my experience. Okay, like yeah, for frame should be almost lightweight only. Like it should be lightweight, and try to keep the weight in the area of 80 to 30 kgs, because we can achieve it, though it may exit at the initial stage. You will be getting around 45 or 50 kg. That by reducing the redundant weights and by optimizing the frame based on proper calculation of stiffness and strength, we can get reduced by means of 80 to 30 kg. It is fine. Okay, because this will have a major effect on your vehicle performance during the dynamic events. Next, yeah, before starting the design, as I told earlier, one should take input from all the departments on the mounting of suspension arms, steering requirements, engine position, gearbox, seat, braking components. Then only you should try to use the structural members. Okay, what kind of members? Then only you should think and you should model. And reduce the number of members. Each and every member should solve a purpose. As I told earlier, you should not simply design whatever what you think like you can do a member model. Try to remove the redundant members and avoid over designing. Over designing is not needed for a student level made design. Okay, over designing should be avoided because it adds significantly to cost. Okay, during a larger scale production. Follow the rulebook guidelines. Yes, it is a must, because if you follow the rulebook perfectly, naturally you will be coming up with a better design, and for a technical inspection also it will be very easy for the team to get it clear as early as possible. Yeah, next is the material selection. Yes, material selection should be based on your finance. Like as I said, like whether you should go for 1018 or 4130, like you should be fixing based on your finance, availability of the material and the design requirement. Okay, these things are very important. Like you cannot compromise each and this. Okay, you should you should think of things once or twice before coming up with material selection. And next is reduce the length of the total material of the frame. Yes, try to reduce it. This can be done by reducing the overall chassis size. Yes, as and when required, you should reduce the chassis whenever you need it for modeling. Okay, cross-section optimization, as I told earlier in the lightweight frame design, right? You should have a proper knowledge on where to place more loads and where vehicle will be subjected to more strength and less strength. Okay, that should be a balance. and there should be proper engineering justification. Yes, as a design engineer or analyst, you must know like why I placed this kind of member or this kind of thickness I have mentioned. Like you must have an proper engineering justification for each and everything. Okay, that is most expected from an engineering perspective here. That is what learning is all about. Okay. Next is the based on the FE analysis, there is a finite element analysis and the loading conditions. You should modify the load path. Yes, during the analysis phase, like if stress is higher, you must take some load out of that node by placing some another member or taking the load from there, and ensure like the major loads should always be taken through the primary members. Yes, and also like while modeling in 3D CAD softwares, every dimension should be fully defined. Okay, you may in the software like in SolidWorks, you will be having the constraint like over fully defined, underdefined, other thing. Because and if you place underdefined, it may pose a problem in changing the dimension at any cost. Okay, that I will explain in while explaining the model in SolidWorks. Okay, don't leave any dimensions undefined. Yes, you must define almost always define the dimensions anyway. Reduce the number of fields. Yes, don't make your frame too complex. This not only increases the accuracy of the production will be easy, but also decreases the number of fixtures. Yes, building cost and other things will be naturally we get less and also give more strength. Okay, that is the thing I want to convey here. Yeah, I think here till now before you have any doubt over there, I will see. Click on the presentation, PPT not visible. Yes, what is over design? Yes, over designing in the sense like you would be expecting like what is more than expected you are designing. For example, if a frame, if you are modeling, like it is for if any impact criteria comes means, for example, like it is taking only 200 megapascal. Okay, if 200 megapascal is only the maximum force that is experienced by a frame, you cannot go for a material having 720 megapascal as a yield strength. That is over designing. You can go either with 300 or 450 megapascal material having that kind of yield strength. Okay, unnecessarily like you should not overload. You should not over design your vehicle. That is what I want to say from the over designing perspective. Okay, it's fine. Is any questions still now? I think so. Like I know like time is getting up. You all having lunch. You feel hungry. You can if you say like I can quickly go through and wind up the session. No, right? Yes, I can carry on. Next goes with the analysis of frame. We will be having the finite element analysis. We will be modeling. You can see right from the first photo, like this is the crash test. This is the test for monocoque frame, and this is the loading conditions, I think, for a torsional test, and this is for a twisting, like this is a deformation model for this. Okay, these are some of the frame. Like we will be having the FE of the frame. What are the type of impact that we will be facing, simulation or load case scenarios, front impact, rear impact, side impact, torsional analysis, drop test, rollover test, bump test, and modal analysis also. It is so important that I will be explaining it. And other than that, we will also having another like fatigue and one more thing like vibration, like other things. Okay, that are other analysis is also there, but we can restrict them to I think this up to this 6 or 7 kind of impact test. While modeling in FEA, like what are the things that you must take note of it, like the stress concentration, where are the stress, maximum stress, and the deformations, and the factor of safety. Okay, these are the things that you should take note of before during the analysis of the frame. One more thing that is very important, like how to calculate the G-force. Most of them you might have learned, or you may have the knowledge of. You must give like vehicle like this kind of G-force, 2 G-force, 3 G-force, 5 G-force for a front impact or other thing. But actually there is a point like what is the optimum G-force for a vehicle. This is what this is what a proper designing should be. Like I will be giving an example like how to calculate a G-force for your vehicle, so that the minimum G-force that your vehicle will be experiencing, that should be the more realistic type of analysis that I expect. Okay. Yes, how much load is to be applied for performing the different type of test. Okay. For you can consider a scenario. Right, for an example, take a vehicle A which is at a rest, okay, and it is having a mass of 300 kg, and also another vehicle B, okay, it is coming at the speed of 60 km/h. That is speed you can be, it depends on the type of vehicle. Since I am restricting to solar, okay, and for an event point of view, the maximum limit is 60, so I am sticking to the 60. Okay, so it is moving with the 60 km/h and getting impact. Okay, the impact collision of time of 0.4 second. Okay, these are the inputs that we got. Based on that, we will be calculating the G-force required. Then these are the input like final velocity V is equal to 0, and initial velocity of 60 and converted into meter per second, and the time of impact, right, 0.4 second. We must need to find the acceleration. Okay, that is the thing. Yeah, next slide. We must know the Newton's law of force, right? V is equal to U plus AT, Newton's law of motion. So that thing we will be applying here. Like final velocity we know is 0 after impact. Use the velocity with which it is getting impact. B is getting impact on A. We must find from here the A, like you know the impact time is 0.4 second. So we will be knowing the acceleration, but it is a deceleration. So it will have the negative value. As you see, 16 goes there, it will be minus. So I mentioned here as a deceleration. Okay, this will be the acceleration, the deceleration value of 41.65. Why I'm making the A value, this I need this acceleration value. It's like using this we can calculate the impact force. Okay, for F is equal to ma, as you know, we assume the mass of 300 kg, we will be getting the force. This is what the force will be experienced of a vehicle of a certain mass moving with a certain velocity getting impacted. Okay, this is the way you should calculate the force of the vehicle. And next is the G force. How to calculate G force? G force is nothing but expressing the acceleration force in terms of G. That is, it is nothing but A by G. That is what G force. Okay. If you know that F, this force is what this is, like F is equal to, this is ma, and mass of the vehicle into 9.81. This is mg. If we divide like F into A by F into G, it is nothing but M into A by M into G. It is nothing but A by G. Okay. This is a factor which we represent to get the this is what they used in industrial, like a G force will be the term which is used in industry for calculating the impact force. Okay, so G force as we calculate the force, like 12495 is what the load which we got, force we got, and 9.81 and the mass of the vehicle 300, we will be getting G force around 5. So this is a scenario like it is the minimum G force. This will be experienced by the vehicle moving with a certain velocity. So in such case, like what is this is the minimum force means you cannot go with 2G force or 3G force to get to for analysis of front and rear impact. Okay, this is the thing, like yeah.
We will wind up in 10 to 15 minutes. I just want to ask the participant one question. What is G force?
Yeah,
just
sure.
Comment on the chat box. Otherwise, we will.
Yeah, it is getting time, I know, but it is important, so it's up to them.
Yeah.
Okay, you can have.
So, what is G force? Tell me anything. Any participant. Since he's explaining 2G force, 3G force, 5G force. So can anyone unmute your mic and tell what is G force? I know it is going a little bit above head but it is the most important part if you are designing anything and you want designing award. So Karan has expertise in designing. You can ask such questions. Be curious to know. Don't listen just like that and you think that the PPT will be sent to you. All we are giving the best, but it's up to you how you use this opportunity. Anyone can tell this? Okay, Sahan is saying ratio force per mass of vehicle. Okay, Karan, you can just proceed. Lead the comment, and mechatronics engineer is also asking one question: whether G force and factor of safety are different.
Yes, almost difference. Like G force is in no way related to factor of safety. Factor of safety is nothing but the ratio of ultimate tensile strength to the yield strength. Okay, yield strength, the ultimate tensile strength, we know like it is a point at which the material breaks. Okay, if like ultimate tensile strength, it is a point like after the ultimate tensile strength, there might be any point where the material will fail, like it will break. That is the worst case, like for the ultimate tensile. And the yield strength is the point at which the material begins to yield. That is, it is begun to lose its elasticity and move to plastic shape. But that is the ratio, that the difference of ultimate tensile strength to the yield strength. That is the maximum stress point where we'll be getting through the analysis. That ratio is the factor of safety. Okay, not the G force. If the factor of safety is if factor of safety should be more than 1 for a safe design. Okay, so you must try to be in a conservative purpose and try to optimize between 1.5 to 2.5. That would be good. Fine, Prakash, like what is the thing?
Yes.
Shall I continue, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, so as I say, to continue with, right, those are the minimum force for this kind of vehicle is 5G. We cannot go below 5G. Fine. Yes, you can move with the analysis part. Like what are the things that you should be considering for the analysis? Yes, design or import the model. First thing is like you will be modeling in some CAD softwares and you will be importing them into ANSYS or any similar analysis softwares. And next we will be defining the material for the frame, what kind of material we will be using for the analysis, and identifying the points or the nodes where we will be giving the loads on that. And next, we will be, depending on the type of analysis, what kind of analysis you will be fixing. For front impact, you will be fixing the rear suspension points, and for rear, it will be the vice versa, and for side torsion. So you will be you should know the boundary conditions, like where will be the impact and where will be the boundary condition. That thing you must know. And next is the type of loads that you will be experiencing, like either a force or a pressure or a torsion or a torque. So that type of force or the torque you must know with the direction and this magnitude also. Next is the meshing. Meshing is so crucial criteria, like what kind of mesh you will be doing. That is more important. Mostly in ANSYS, you will be going with I think hexahedral, right? Tetrahedral shape. That is a normal thing, but it depends. Like brick is also there. Hexagon is also there. So there is a definite purpose for each type of material that you can go through it, and you must know which type of elements that should be used for to get the optimum result, because every type of material, every shape will give different results. You must know like what type of mesh you must go so that your results will be more accurate and more realistic. Okay, that you must know for meshing. And next is the you should run the study by giving the load scenarios as you give, and you must check for the deformation, stress, deflections, what is there, failure of members where, and the factor of safety and other things. Okay, after this, like you must know like when the failing or any modification, you must modify it again and again until the design becomes safe and you fit for usage. So this is a brief procedure for doing an FE analysis in for a frame. Okay, so you start with like what are the types of stress. Is the front impact test, as we see here. I will go through quickly. Like as you know, like the force which we applied is 5G into m into 9.81. This will be the force. Okay, this will be the force. Like this 5G will be like you must calculate from what is given from the earlier thing, right? That calculation. This depends on your vehicle. M depends on your vehicle. So multiply. This will be the force value you will be giving. And for front impact, you will be giving this. Since you can see, right, this is a beam model and not a nodal model. So I am giving force on the member. Okay, otherwise you should give only on the nodes. Okay, that you must know. If you're going with SolidWorks, you should give on the nodes, and if you're going for ANSYS with beam model, you can go with this one, members on the beam model with the force. Okay, you are fixing the rear suspension points here, and we are giving the force here, and this is what the deformation and stress would look like. From here you can see the stress is more at the side impact joints. Okay, that is the thing. I'm going through quickly. Okay, this is the side impact where we're giving the side impact test, like you will be fixing one end, this end, and you will be giving the load, like it must be 80 to 90% of the front impact test, the load. Okay, if you're giving 5G means 90 or 80%, 80% is 4G or 90% is 5G. You can be conservative by going with more also, like even though 5 also, it is up to you to get the worst scenario. Okay, so next this will be the deformation and the stress for the side impact. And the rear impact also, like rear impact, it is as the vice versa of the front impact. Okay, this is the same as 5G. And a rollover also. A rollover, it is a very rare criteria for a solar vehicle perspective view. For an ATV, it is a more frequent thing. Okay, so yeah, we will be giving the 2G force for that, and we will be getting. You can see from the deformation, right, how material will deform upon the load. And torsion, like torsion, we will be having a bump. When we have a bump over there, what will there during vehicle twist. This is what the twisting will take care of. Okay, we will be giving half of the G what we experience in front and rear. Yeah, next is the front bump test. Like bump, what is like only one part of wheel is getting, like in all the wheel, like in the left front left wheel only there is a bump, and rest all wheels are in on ground. Means then what will be the twisting in the frame. So that load case we will be you can simulate here. Okay, this is the thing. And next is a modal analysis. Yes, compared to other analysis, modal is also important. So because material will be subjected to vibrations at all time, especially for ATV type of vehicle, because we will be having the engine there. Engine will naturally generate some vibrations there. So that vibrations might cause some natural frequency. Like every material will have its own natural frequency, and upon which it will be starting to vibrate. And when the natural frequency matches with external frequency, resonance takes place, and resonance, it keeps on continuing, it will result in the failure of the material. Okay, that is what basic physics is all about resonance. So same can be applied here. And you can see the different mode shapes, like 6 mode shapes. You can take it and you can run through. Like I will play the video. You can see, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Okay, you will be having this kind of scenarios. You should also make sure like this kind of scenarios can be taken off, because it varies with different materials. Okay, the natural frequency will vary. that you must take care of for different natural frequency. The mode shapes will be varying, and you can calculate the stress deformations occurring such that it will not fail even for this kind of impact also. Fine. So these are the things. Yeah, if this is one of the thing like where the optimization takes place, I will give some idea about it. If the intensity of stress concentration is higher in critical regions, like as I said in nodes or welded joints, what we should do? Okay, try to minimize stress concentration in the regions with introduction of more tubular members. As I said, if concentration is more, you can take you can distribute the load like adding more members or diverting the load path by taking the reducing the load by taking the load through the another member. Okay, that thing you can do. And by replacing the tubular member with high stress concentration or greater thickness. Yes, if you increase the thickness, naturally you will have more stiffness, so the material will resist to deform, thereby stress will be less there. Okay, this is crucial for model analysis, I think. Okay, this is one of the things we can solve using model analysis during. And next is a design the frame such that the maximum stress value at the critical points is less than the yield strength. Okay, that is a basic thing. Like depending on this only, we will be getting the factor of safety. Okay, yield strength, ultimate tensile strength by yield strength, as I told you. And also at welded joints, it is preferred like the stress value which we are getting, it must be less than half of the we are very conservative here, because if you think like the yield strength for the material is around 460, you must think your maximum stress you can achieve like you can allow is only 2 or 260 or 240 like that, because it is for a conservative purpose. Because if you are giving some room for some another factor which you may not go through scenario, like because so like that we can have some room for room for failure we can expect, so that thing you can give some room. So this not an what to say, like this not a mandatory thing, like for a safer design you can consider this. Okay, otherwise you can go with a normal yield strength also. Yeah, and also like always take a number of iterations till the maximum stress value reaches a certain degree that your frame does not fails. Okay, these critical points are the one major reason for fatigue failure during long run. Yeah, you can see right during many events like suspension points or the joints will get broken or material will break, or the steering rod will break. So these are the things that will fail during a long run of the vehicle, that is due to the fatigue. So these things also you should keep in mind and doing some analysis so that your vehicle will be given utmost safety. Fine. Yes, I think like almost done with that. Like I can give you some software analysis for what purpose, like what softwares you can use. You can also use other softwares, like what I did in my during my this thing, like for 3D CAD modeling I used Creo or Pro E basic, but CATIA you can use. SolidWorks I prefer SolidWorks. Okay, this is an easy software. And Fusion 360, if you are familiar with Fusion 360, because this is a recent software, you can also go with it. It also gives a good thing for modeling. And analysis, like SolidWorks also you can use. It is a good software for especially for frame analysis, like it is having a wide range of options to do with that. And ANSYS, it is I think it is the best of all. And HyperMesh also, like HyperMesh is for advanced thing, very advanced than ANSYS. Okay, it is used almost in all the automobile industry. They are using HyperMesh for advanced analysis and simulations rather than ANSYS. Okay, and for multi-body dynamics, like as I told, like you can go for simulations of various parts, motions, other things you can use for ANSYS. And for vehicle dynamics, you can, if you want to test the vehicle dynamic like cornering, braking, suspension, load point, some tests are also there inbuilt in Adams. It is a very good software, like where you can use for constant radius cornering. Like if you can run a simulation, you can do with a simulation where you can you can make some 7 meter track. You can make a track and you can simulate a vehicle going through, and whether it is taking the right path or your steering is being understeer or oversteer. All the dynamic things you can run and get clarified with ANSYS. It is excellent software to go with the dynamics. And suspension analysis, to be specific, we can, for a basic level, we can go with Lotus Shark to get the hard points, as I told, right? Hard points and other things, you can go with the Lotus Shark. It is a good software to get all the reports and other things also. And for advanced, you can go with Optimum Kinematics. It is a company-specific software. I don't know whether it is now available for free student version or not, because during my course of time in 2017, I used this. Okay, it is a company named Optimum G, you know, right? So it is a racing team. They had their own racing team, and they designed the suspension software. You can also use this if available. And for CFD, for aerodynamics and other purpose, you can go with ANSYS Fluent. It is a good software you can go with. And for ergonomic specific, yes, ergonomics, the passenger occupant, you can go with CATIA. Ergonomic design analysis tab, you can use it. And Delmia, yeah, Delmia is an Enovia, like it is a part of CATIA. It is an advanced software. You can, if you get it, you can use it, because I am not familiar with Delmia. but I'm familiar with CATIA. And Siemens Jack, it is a new software. It is also being good in industrial purpose, like what to say, that motion study and other things we will be using. Like it is also good for ergonomics. I think it is based on better than CATIA. I think it is a good software. You can go with. I have been used to this Siemens Jack. It is free for student edition. You can download it from net. Okay, and for drafting purpose, for giving information to manufacturing for this thing, you can go with AutoCAD, or SolidWorks also provides a facility for going with the drafting. It is also a tab there. You can go with SolidWorks. Fine, I think this is done. Like Prakash sir, you can have any questions, team, you are having?
I think they have a lot of good session, I think. And it is a right time to, if some of the participants want to ask the question, they can directly
Yeah, you
ask the question.
can ask your questions. I'm ready to answer with you. I hope so. Like the time is not the right time to discuss with very techie stuff. I know, because it's already
yeah.
lunch time and
Yeah,
other
yeah.
things, so you may feel bored. But yeah, it is very important thing to know, because without this you cannot give it a better design, and you can aim for a design level, like design level.
Yeah, Shiva Kumar is responding. I know that some of the guys are know very well, and they will utilizing this.
Yeah.
And some of the guys are not that very techy. So still, we are providing our best. Since yesterday, I also told there are a lot of people like Mechatronics has raised the one query. So we are designing this workshop up to the level of all the persons. So designing the first part. That's why I keep in the last session only. But nevertheless, the next session is going to be very fun, since the customer is the king. So ultimately, whatever you design or whatever you manufacture, ultimately you have to sell. So marketing and sales will be going to be a play. So we will tell you the also some from the sponsors strategies. It will be taken by one of the TVS territory manager. So you will guys will enjoy. So have a lunch, and we will meet at sharp 2 p.m. only. So we do not want to procrastinate our session. So yes, we are good to go. Thank you, Paran, for awesome technical things. I think.
Yes, sir. Sir, sorry to interrupt. Before
Yeah.
Karan sir is leaving, there's a question. A
Okay,
brief
okay.
explanation about ergonomics from Sai Kumar Yadav.
Yes,
Okay, okay.
yeah, ergonomics. You have it is a wide range of spectrum. Like it is a different domain. I do like I'm also good at ergonomics, so don't worry. Like I will also take I will give a brief about it. Like if possible, like I can also give a detailed session about ergonomics. I can explain you some softwares and the concepts. Yeah, it is a good thing. Like it is basically an occupant. Ergonomics means like ergo means work, and norm means norms. Okay, work law. It is a definition of work law. Ergonomics not only applies to automobile, but it is applied to all household, like householding, office environment, work environment. So all the things, like it is like how your human body, like how your human will work with these things. So that is a brief thing, and it is mainly based on comfort,
Comfort, safety also,
safety,
and aesthetic also will come into
aesthetic,
play.
like this thing. So
Yeah.
it is
So
a
in
widespread. It is
Katia,
a
we
good.
have this view plan also. How it is going to be, we see the next person also.
Yeah.
So in Katia, you can use this ergonomics model also. So when we present our in the virtual round, so you have to come with a design report.
Yes,
So in
sir.
this, you have to cover such type of thing. If you want a detail, we can arrange the next workshop also very soon. So yes, some are saying 2:30. So we will do at 2:15. Okay. So 2:15 we will do. So today is the last date. So 2:15 we are good to go. Okay, I will just also ping this message in 2:15 in the group also. 2:50 we are meeting sharp. So I will allow the participant to join by 2:10 p.m. So yes, last session is going to be crucial. You must attend this session, and there is also some tests going to be given, not today, but in the email you will get. So there is also some prizes we will decide later on. So yes, thank you,
Yes, one
Paran.
question. Yeah, and one question I came from Panindra, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, while doing project, it is necessary to use this softwares for checking the material strength. Yes, absolutely. Like the main difference why we are going for computers based simulations rather than you can go with manual material testings also, but it is cost and time consuming. Being from a student perspective of view, like you get a faster response and accurate response, you can go with software. That is a major reason. Or you can go with if you are going with material testing, like you can go, there are a lot of testing centers available there.
Yeah, a
You
lot
can
of testing.
you can have a material, you can take a specimen of a material, and you can go with test. They have you know like UTM, and the bending tensile strength you might have gone through your during your lab. So that kind of test you can perform, and you can get the report as well. Okay, fine. Yes, okay. I can expect any questions, or we can wind up the session, I think. Right, you can you can also contact me. You can I will post my mail ID and the mobile number related to any technical things. Like you can also deal with your vehicle dynamics, ergonomics, vehicle design analysis. So complete design package you can expect. Like if you have any doubts, kindly like you feel free to ask me. I will post my mobile and email ID here. Okay, thank you.
You can leave now and have a lunch. We will meet at 2:10 p.m. Thank you.
Yeah.